It is Thursday, August 14th, and it is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. And I actually get to talk about a wrestling show today, SP3. But first, I'm gonna expose the DMs here, as you clearly did not watch the product on Monday. So here was the DM conversation last night, as I was checked out by this point. You and Joel were talking about the thumbnail for today, because Joel set up the show with everything. And Joel said, unless this match, meaning the main event, ends in a DQ, at which point Jeremy isn't talking Dynamite. SP3 said, it'll be the only DQ on the show, to be fair.
And I was wrong.
Joel said, that's his new edict. Any show that has a DQ in the main gets ignored that week. SP3 said, he didn't say that. He only came up with the edict for Raw because it had one earlier in the show. And Joel said, watch today's show. I didn't come up with the Raw edict because I wanted to do, or during the show, because there was a DQ. I came up with the Raw edict because I didn't want the main event to end in a DQ. I came up with that on Monday's show. At Monday's show, I said, if this Raw main event ends in a DQ, we didn't know what the main event was at the time. We thought it was going to be Naomi and Io. And I said,
that would have ended in a DQ as well.
I said, if the main event of this show ends in a DQ, I'm not reviewing this show tomorrow. And then I put it out there on Twitter. And I guess I put it out after there had already been a DQ on the show. I don't remember. I don't care about the Raw. Can't tell you what actually happened. And then, yes, yesterday, my new edict is, if your wrestling show, I don't care which company, if your wrestling show ends in a main event DQ, I ain't giving your show no attention. Because what you're telling me is I got to sit through your whole 2-hour plus show, since all of these shows are at least 2 hours. I gotta sit through your whole 2-hour plus show to get to what's supposed to be the most important match of the show, and you're not gonna give me a finish? I'm not gonna give you attention on this show. SP3 can review the show. Joel can review the show. I will not review the show if your main event ends in a DQ. That is my edict moving forward.
You're telling me this now. You didn't say this on Tuesday.
Well, I just came up with this edict yesterday.
Well, then you should have messaged me yourself and let me know.
Watch the show, SP3.
Why do I have to watch every day? I'm doing other stuff.
You're always supposed to be watching.
I have kids.
Fair.
I try my best to watch.
That's the easiest excuse, honestly.
If you on the day I was going on a flight to come back to the United States of America.
See, sometimes you're in the chat, so I know you do actually watch the show on many of the days. I also know you're traveling back and you're in time zone adjustment mode right now, so I completely understand if you miss stuff. But fortunately, the main event did not end in a DQ, so
exactly.
I can talk about AEW. And now you are knowing what the edict is, and now you know moving forward that I'm probably not going to be reviewing Raw on most weeks because they can't help themselves but to end the damn show in a DQ.
All right, we got one more Raw before Clash in Paris, so we'll probably get another DQ on that one. So I'll prepare myself on Tuesdays to do that. But thankfully for all of this, Dynamite did not end in a DQ. Did it have a good ending is the good question. And that's what we're going to discuss on today's In the Weeds. Y'all know all the stuff that Joel usually talks about on the days I'm not here. Drop the thumbs up on the video. You could do the fireworks.
The fireworks.
Going. Drop the thumbs up. Show your support in the live chat. Be a part of XP1 so we can make fun of someone else besides Zeno Hour.
Nah, Zeno Hour's got to win. I already said I'm rigging this thing for him. So we appreciate all the chats, but Zeno Hour's winning this month. At least I'm upfront and honest about it, that he's winning this month. But leaving a super chat for this week, the money is going to Canadian Cancer Research Society. So that not only gets you XP1 points that ultimately won't matter this month, but it does go to a good cause for this week. So if you're going to boost your XP1, this week, it's even better because the money is going to a good cause. The funds that are donated this week will be going to Canadian Cancer Research Society. Their whole C4 is holding its Fighting Back show this weekend, so they're continuing to raise money. I know Evil Uno and Mystery Wrestling just raised over 33,000 Canadian with the longest match ever. So we're gonna keep raising some money when it's double XP weekend. We don't do a show on the weekend, so we can't do double XP weekend. I should do. Okay, you know what we should do actually? Maybe on main channel. I don't know, because we should have a day that XP is essentially doubled. So here's how, for those who don't know what the XP1 is, if you are new here, XP1, if you see that you see like people have like crowns, and you see at the top of the chat, you can see like who the top chatters are and everything. The person who finishes first gets 3 points. The person who finishes second gets 2 points, and the person who finishes third gets 1 point. I take that every single day. I have my spreadsheet. I add up the numbers. The end of the month, whoever has the most points wins the XP1. We should do a day that is essentially doubled. So first place gets 6 points, second place gets 4 points, third place gets 2 points. Maybe every Friday. This won't start this month because we can't do it in the middle of the month. But maybe every Friday, XP1 points are doubled. Everyone, all right? We're gonna do this. Maybe we'll start that moving forward. Every Friday, XP1 points are doubled. So try to get more people here on the Friday, get more people chatting on the Friday. And so we don't have to talk about TNA as much on Friday. God knows that kills me every week.
We got to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about instead of TNA, which only Joel wants to talk about.
Exactly. Volby, who does send a super chat, has no Vanilla Fumble. We're going to hit the music anyway because it's a good song.
I'm Vanilla, baby.
I enjoyed wrestling today, but I still got a super chat. To fight cancer. Actually, you know what? Cancer is the Vanilla Fumble. There you go. Well, we hit it anyway.
There you go.
I have an update for you, Volub. I have an update. So yesterday, if you like SP3 and you missed the show yesterday.
That's why I said, didn't I say this on Tuesday? We need a previously on in the week.
That'd be so much work for me. I have ideas of like stuff that I want to continue to do for this show. The problem is I do so much other stuff that like I'm just brain dead by certain points of the day. And now kids are back in school, getting up early again. So like I look at the clock and like it's 12, and instead of only like I used to get up at like 9:30, do the show, be good, 12 o'clock. All right, I felt good. Now, because I'm up earlier, 12 o'clock, it's like I've already done like 5 hours of work. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. Yes, you were, Volub. So, Volub yesterday sent a super chat about, we do a bit on this show where I publicly message Tony Khan and try to just say things, try to get him to do things for us. Now, you're fine, Volub, but I will say, so the tweet yesterday, Volub was like, can we message Tony Khan about David Flair's theme? So I tweeted, hello, Tony Khan and AEW. Can you give the Young Bucks David Flair's theme from WCW, as it is a TNT library theme? It's pretty awful. Perfect for them. Thanks. I actually didn't see a lot of people like say I was catching shit for that. Like most of my comments were like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So if people like were like, oh, it's Jimmy Hart used or whatever, then I didn't see a lot of those. So whatever, I don't really care. But I can confirm AEW looked into this and tried to and potentially were going to use the theme, but it does appear it is a Jimmy Hart owned theme, and so they didn't want to take that risk, but they did look into potentially using that song based on the tweet. Can confirm that. But yeah, they didn't want to take the risk of we think Jimmy Hart kind of has it, so we don't want to use it.
Yeah.
But they,
Oh, that's great. Jimmy Hart is the maker of a lot of music.
yeah, yeah.
WWE, WCW. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that, but that's awesome that was even in their thought process, because this is one of the most entertaining storylines currently on wrestling television right now. The Procast Bucks, and I love the Mr. Instant Replay and Slick Nick.
Slick Nick,
Like, we're going back in time. They went from Max and Jeremy last week to this week. They got their backyard wrestling names.
Yeah, what are they gonna be next week? Like, are they gonna go their real names? Is that what they're gonna have to use? Like, Matt Nick Massey? Is that what we're using next week? Because we just keep going. We went to, all right, kind of pre-EVP, and then they've done the full-on jobber. They went to TNA. They went to the backyard with Slick Nick and Instant Replay. Yeah, we're just gonna use real names next week.
That's the only path. That's the only path we can go.
We'll talk about AEW in more detail here shortly. I think what everybody wants to talk about, though, SP3, is the Taylor Swift podcast. I know you listened to the Taylor Swift podcast on New Heights.
No, I did not listen.
Wow.
Wow. On New Heights. So, but I know you. This is going to be like me talking about Monday Night Raw on Tuesday, where you could talk. You could let me know what happened.
It's like a 2-hour podcast, which insane that Taylor Swift is just doing a 2-hour podcast. Yeah, that was my takeaway too, Will. Is Jason Kelsey's like trying to ask like questions and like learn things, and Travis is just like, "You're so pretty." Like, he's just like, "Oh, you're so cute." Like, he's just like meathead boyfriend, which bless. But Jason's like, "So tell us about the Eras tour. Tell us about this. Tell us about that." And Travis is looking like, "I like your hair." It's just it, just staring. It's amazing. It's amazing. It was a lot of fun though. If you haven't watched it, like, I understand it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's the biggest entertainer in the world doing a 2-hour podcast and talking about sourdough bread for half an hour of that, which is very funny as well. It's just like, oh, she's again the biggest entertainer in the world. She just goes home and just like is now on sourdough bread blogs. What? Like, why is this a thing? Sure. Travis just playing his video games, and that's what he does, just playing his video games, listen to music like any other high school guy out there. It's honestly amazing. It's a really good podcast for anybody who wants to listen to it. And I did write an article off of it because I ain't listening to a 2-hour podcast and not getting something out of it. Jason Kelsey's a lot of fun.
Did you get something wrestling related, or what's it?
The wrestling related was Taylor Swift is an athlete. That's Jason Kelsey, WrestleMania 40 superstar.
There you go.
Said Taylor Swift is an athlete. Yeah, I wrote that article. I don't care if people got mad about it. Absolutely not. What did Tenruza say? He was probably like, "Oh, why did you start the AEW watch along? It's way more important than the Taylor Swift pot." Y'all are barking up the wrong tree with Denise Salcedo out there being like, watch AEW over Taylor Swift. That's the wrong person to F with when it comes to that. Denise loves wrestling. She's made a very good market for herself, made a very good life for herself covering wrestling, and does it exceptionally well. I don't want to put words into her mouth. If she could do the same thing, but just Taylor Swift content, she'd probably drop wrestling. She would drop wrestling in a heartbeat if she could just do Taylor Swift content 24/7 like she does with wrestling and get as much out of it. That woman is insane with her Taylor Swift love. And I say that lovingly. I say that as someone who loves Denise Salcedo and considers Denise Salcedo a friend. But y'all don't want to fuck with Denise on why aren't you watching wrestling over Taylor Swift? Because the answer to that is go fuck yourself from Denise. She's watching Taylor Swift over pro wrestling.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Sometimes there's things that supersede pro wrestling. That's why we spend most of our time not talking about it on certain days. So.
If we could make more of basketball than wrestling,
I'd
much rather cover
basketball.
basketball.
I've said this multiple times.
Much better. The new album's out October 3rd, so I'm gonna be up till midnight on that. What I assume October 3rd is a Friday. So that means Joel has to deal with October 3rd is it's a Friday. So yeah.
You're gonna get it at midnight.
Yeah, of course. So Friday's episode of In the Weeds, everybody, it's gonna be Taylor Swift theme. Just letting everyone know right now. We'll see if our pal Cher Delaware will join. My anniversary is October 2nd, so I'm going straight from anniversary to listening to Taylor Swift. This is gonna be a great 24-hour period for me.
You're living the life. You're living the life.
Right. Just have a great day with my wife on October 2nd, and then right at midnight, the anniversary is over. I love you. Enjoy your sleep. I'll be listening to the new Taylor Swift album. And then staying up till 3 when she inevitably releases more tracks. Because she ain't doing a 12 tracks on an album? She ain't doing that. You kidding? No way. Absolutely no way. Only 12 tracks on an album. Before we jump into the AEW Dynamite talk and what the thumbnail is and everything, did you get a chance to check out Carrie and Kross on Helwani's show yesterday?
Yes, I did. I actually watched a bit of that interview and really good stuff. I thought that he handled it very well. You can tell that there was I do believe more like what he's saying and how he feels and the perspective. I thought he gave some great answers as well, and I thought Ariel he did his job. He asked the questions that needed to be asked, even questions that he said himself that he didn't think he would ever ask a wrestler. So
asking is this a work? Do you expect them to say yes? Because that gives away the work if it is a work. It was just very funny to be like, is this a work? Because the answer is going to be no, even if the answer is yes. It's like Rollins with the knee.
Yeah.
We learned that was a work, but Seth wasn't going to be like, no, guys, I'm actually faking this knee injury. It's a very funny question to ask on this. And now if it comes out that it is a work, if we later learn that it is a work, now we're not going to believe stuff. We're going to be like, all right, well, this is going to be a work. Helwani's going to feel duped like he did with Seth. And I don't know what that, I don't think that changes anything from Helwani's perspective.
No.
But
he's still going to be like, oh man, they got me. They really got me.
Yeah. I thought it was a good interview. There were a couple points where, so Kate's saying I think he was trying to see if it would trip him up. And I think Helwani did a good job with that of kind of double asking some questions, like ask it early in the interview, ask it later in the interview to see if the answer changes a little bit. There was one point where he was talking about giving the fans what he wants and everything. And Kross is like, we can still get there. You got to give the fans what they want, even if you starve them a little, as long as you give them what they want. And it's like, that's not what's happening here though, but we can get there. We can come back to the table and still give the fans what they want. I thought that was interesting because he once again clarified of that's not what's happening as far as this is not a work. We're not purposely quote unquote starving the fans for Karrion Kross. And the payoff is going to be, I will be back. Maybe it is. Maybe that does become the payoff. But according to Kross, right now, that is not the payoff. My tweet yesterday was if this is a work, I don't know what it's accomplishing at this point.
I think it's supposed to get more of a reaction. I think that they wanted like it was in Quebec City right on Monday. They wanted to hear like the "We Want Cross" chants. If we hear it like they want to manufacture what they accomplished with our truth, but our truth wasn't a work, so you can't manufacture that. And I think that's what they want from this whole. If it is a work, that is the perspective of WWE. They want to hear the "We Want Cross" chants. They want to collect the signs. They want to they I don't we're hearing mixed reporting about them actually compensating the signs that said "We Want Cross," but
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
yeah, if that's not true, then they want to see the signs. They want to hear from the fan base on social media, and they want to hear this kind of uproar for him to kind of show them that they have something kind of like an anti-hero that they can bring back into play and maybe put him in a more prominent position. Or he could be just like R-Truth, and he comes back and he's in the same position, and he has to kind of go back to what he was before.
Somebody made a point that they're keeping the conversation moving, and they're in the conversation, whether it be WWE, whether it be Kross. And I honestly think that's what they're accomplishing the most. Is now we're not talking about Brock as much, because we're talking about this. Our attention spans are so short when it comes to so much. And WWE, as I've said many times, they want to be a 24/7 content machine. If they can make content 24/7, if they can be the conversation 24/7, they would love to do that. And, well, how do you do that? Well, even on off days, you keep your name in the conversation. Is it a coincidence that Kross does Helwani's show on a Wednesday? You know?
Yeah.
And the conversation is Kross all through Wednesday afternoon. And yeah, he was asked about AEW, and of course he gives the answer of like, no, I haven't heard from them. It's not surprised I didn't hear from them, because a lot of people think it's a work. I think there are other reasons that he maybe hasn't heard from AEW. I don't think AEW has much interest in Kross. And again, I don't know if he has much interest in AEW.
I think it's mutual. I think it's a mutual thing that
he said it.
He was very transparent. He wants to be back in WWE.
Yeah.
That's one thing I will the two answers and like the overall theme of the whole interview to me is that Kross wants to be back at the table. He wants to renegotiate a new deal. He wants to go back to WWE. I think he made that kind of crystal clear. I think for him, it was kind of just getting out there, how he really feels, or if it is a work. We got to talk about it from both scenarios because of the whole Rollins situation. And it sucks that we have to do it like that, but that's what it is. If he's doing a work, then this is to kind of make it feel legitimate. And, then he had the announcement that he's doing like a couple of conventions, and it's as Killer Kross, it's not as Karrion Kross. So that type of stuff, it's going to lead to more people being interested in him, I guess, from a WWE perspective and from him. But I don't see AEW. I don't see the need for AEW to kind of go after Karrion Kross unless it's like, do you want that kind of buzz right now when you're kind of building momentum by being consistent and going with an overarching story and building behind kind of your homegrown stars in Hangman Adam Page and MJF? Do you need a Karrion Kross to be there? Because it's just a situation where it's polarizing right now, especially with the whole option that this is all a work of how fans feel about Karrion Kross. I think that is putting more of a microscope on, like, the fan base is not 100% we want Kross, and that was kind of evident on Raw.
Yeah, there were no we want Kross chants, and maybe they were hoping for them. Maybe they thought they were going to get them. If this is a work, it feels like they were probably hoping for them, because again, why else are you doing this unless you are trying to create a moment of like R-Truth, of a manufactured, except this one is manufactured moment of, hey, we want Kross. TNA's got a show on Friday. Triple Mania is on Saturday. Both are possibilities for Kross. And even if he shows up there, people are probably still going to be like, well, it's a work. Those are two companies that WWE is working with. So, of course, he's going to show up in a WWE one owned company or a WWE partnered company. So yes, it is continued to be a work. My whole thing of what is it accomplishing? People are like, well, he's getting good reactions. But yeah, he was getting these reactions before anything came up with the contract. He was getting these reactions. It started on the European tour when he was just on main event. And then after WrestleMania, when he did that promo, he created a lot of buzz for himself off of that. And did they fully capitalize? I don't know. The Sami Zayn feud was fine. I thought they both did good work in the backstage segments and the promos. The matches weren't that good.
No.
And then the payoff was kind of nothing. Like they really had the weakest payoff they could have possibly had. Sami didn't turn, Kross didn't win. It was just Sami decided he's still a good guy, didn't hit Kross with the pipe, beat him normally. Match over.
Beat him like it was a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
All that build up. Like this view, the storyline with Sami Zayn, it worked until the bell rang. Until the bell rang at Night of Champions, I think I was higher on that feud before they had that first matchup than I was after that first matchup. After that first matchup, I was like, this is fine. This is solid. But then I was like, I don't know if I want to see it again. So I kind of wanted it to end right there, but they continued it on until SummerSlam. And like you said, at SummerSlam, the payoff was just like, okay, this accomplished nothing. Like I was predicting Sami Zayn to use the lead pipe so he wins, but then you could say that Kross was actually right and that he needed to go to that kind of depth to kind of get a big win and put him on pace to become a world champion again. So they could have told a better story there, but because of his contract situation, I think that's why they kind of just said, no, we're just going to have Sami win, minor inconvenience, which is not a good choice either way, because why did they give so much to Ricochet just last year when Ricochet decides to leave the company because he doesn't want to re-sign with WWE? But they gave him this masterful kind of send-off where he gets destroyed by Braun Breaker. So even though he's getting destroyed by somebody, at least it's somebody that they're building for the future. So if he comes back, you can feud with him. But for Kross, he was just like, oh, no, we're just wrapping up your storyline. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to make you look good. You're going to have the worst match of SummerSlam weekends.
And also, if it's a work, the people you're working are the online fans who most likely are consuming all of this, right? So they see these interviews, they see these posts. The fans in the arena, you're not really working them because they don't know. And I'm not saying, obviously, there are plenty of online fans who also go to the shows, but I'm saying the ones that aren't chronically online who just might see, like, who only pay attention to the television product, don't consume every piece of media online. The only thing they see is, okay, Kross lost, now he's off television. If he returns, okay, he was just off television for a while, and now he's returning. Great. And he gets a good reaction based off of the return. Okay, cool. You can do that. You could have just signed him, kept him under contract, kept him off television, returned, probably got the same reaction from the people who aren't totally online. So you're working the online fans, right? And when he's doing these media interviews, if it's a work, it doesn't seem great that the people you're working, what he's saying to them is, yeah, the WWE communications department sucks. Yeah, the WWE offer they gave me, it sucked. Like, that's your work? Is to basically bury how they communicate?
The best answer was, I worked Triple H. Triple H believed it. I had to stop.
Yeah. Like, that's what you're going with for the line here? Is the people you're working are the people who are going to consume this. And what you're telling the people who are consuming this are, I've had no communication. They didn't give me an offer until the week of. That offer wasn't good. And when I wanted to talk to him, it's not even that it wasn't good. He said that it was more than he was making. He did confirm that much. How much more? Don't know. Was it in line with what he wanted? Don't know. But he got an offer. he said he wanted to talk about it. You know, he wanted to figure out. I'm. There's no numbers here. I'm using numbers as a means to.
He said he needed an
Yes.
evaluation on
Yes.
the contract.
So yeah, I'm using numbers as a means to make a point here. These are not any type of reported numbers. Let's say the offer was for 500,000 a year. Okay, he looked at that and said, "How did you get there? Let's have a conversation of how you got to that 500,000 number." And they didn't have that conversation with him. Maybe if they showed him how they got there, he would have been like, "Okay, that makes sense." Maybe he would have seen how they got there and been like, well, I'm seeing this, so I think I should get this. They gave him a number, and then they said you have 24 hours to accept or it's rescinded. Which,
that was crazy.
What?
Yeah.
What? Are you a Inspector Gadget villain? This message will self-destruct in 24 hours? What? What is happening?
That
you have
crazy.
24 hours to it.
I was like, this sounds like a movie. This sounds like a movie. Like he was you got a sign, and then you're also telling him, oh, and yeah, if you don't sign, we're not even going to deal with your wife. like that was crazy. That was the crazy. The whole Scarlet part. That was the craziest part to me, where I was like, okay, I'm starting to believe this now, because why would you say all of this if this is a work? You're really not you're not putting WWE in the best light here.
Right. It doesn't make any sense if this is a work of what you are actually accomplishing. But this is the same company that did a Seth Rollins injury work where they accomplished what they could have accomplished if they didn't do the whole injury work.
Yeah.
Because you know how we're going to know? We're going to know if this is a work fairly quickly, honestly. And you know why we're going to know it's a work fairly quickly? Is because WWE can't help themselves but to try to pay this off quickly.
Yeah.
They want to create the moment as quick as possible. The only thing they delay are matches people want to see. That's what they delay, and they do long-term storytelling with. But when they can create a moment, they want to do that as quick as possible.
Yeah, they want to pull the trigger, and that's why they did both of the endings of SummerSlam this year. Just felt like, okay, this was unnecessary how we got here, and this is just unnecessary. So this is just, y'all just have a dopamine kind of addiction to the whole moment. You got to have a big moment. That's how people are going to remember your show. That's how you got to cap off the biggest weekend of the year, or to call it that, to give it that gravitas. So they're obsessed with it at this point, and it's kind of becoming meaningless the more and more. It's a law of diminishing returns when it comes to that. So you can't always think in that way.
My final point on this is, if he returns, work, not work, but let's say, again, it's a work, you're making him a babyface. Yeah. You don't need more baby faces. You got too many. You got too many baby faces. You actually have a good issue where you have a lot of strong top baby faces. Your problem is you got no heels to feud these baby faces with. I mean, look at the main event, or what, the title match in Clash in Paris. It's the same issue. It's the World's End issue with Moxley facing three baby faces. Like, how does this work? He's the heel against three baby faces, but you got good baby faces. LA Knight's over, Jey Uso's over, CM Punk's over, Roman's over. Over on SmackDown, you got Cody, you got Randy, you now got Cena again. You're good on baby faces. You lack some actual good heels. And if you're now going to make Kross a babyface, you're taking away another potential heel for these baby faces to feud.
Does he have to be a babyface coming back?
If the fans are chanting, "We want Kross," and this whole thing is a work, and maybe it's not a work. Maybe this is this is completely completely real. But we're discussing of the principle. If it is a work, what is it accomplishing? So if it's a work, the accomplishment is to do a babyface thing because he just returns and is like, thanks for the support. I still hate people and I hate all of you guys. Like, it doesn't, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. If it's a work, because he's going to get cheered. Yeah. So that makes me think he's going to be a babyface. I mean, I guess he can just continue to be who he is and kind of be like Drew, where he thinks he's right about things. The crowd at least boos Drew to a bigger extent than they boo most of the.
But that's because Drew is usually positioned in front of like stronger baby faces. Like when he was feuding with Damian Priest, there was times where he was getting more cheers than Damian Priest. But if you put Drew against a CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, yeah, he knows how to get booed against those guys. Like he's at that point of he's a top heel in WWE, and it's kind of similar with a lot of them. I think like Gunther is probably the best when it comes to that, and now he's going to be out with the nose surgery. So you're missing your top heel who can still get heat against the upper mid card baby faces as well as the main event baby faces.
Yeah, but they need good heels, and if you're doing this as a work to potentially elicit "We want Kross" chants to again do the manufactured moments that they did with Truth, which was not manufactured. You're looking for a babyface reaction, not a heel. And look, I think Drew's right. I think a lot of people are right, and I don't think they care. They want to do the moments, and as long as they get a reaction off the moment, they don't really care who's babyface and who's heel.
But like we're seeing
whoever's getting a reaction.
You're kind of seeing though, like with Seth Rollins, that way of thinking. Oh, we don't care if they're babyface or heel, as long as they're getting a big reaction, we can kind of position them where we want. Where Seth Rollins has not changed anything from his babyface character since turning heel, and it feels like this whole faction that they're doing as the lead thing is helping, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed more than it's helping Seth Rollins because he's not making the necessary changes. And it's something similar that we saw earlier this year, or just a couple of weeks ago, with John Cena. John Cena, they decided to change nothing. And that's what basically made the fans basically be like, no, we're going to cheer John Cena. It's his retirement tour in most cases. And if he's facing one of those top baby faces, it can go either way. Like Randy Orton in St. Louis, yeah, he was cheered more than Cena, but Cena got his fair share of cheers there. Him and CM Punk, they had to do everything in their power to make CM Punk kind of feel like the babyface with that whole word life thing that you liked. I didn't. But
I continue to think Triple H has no idea how to book heels because he doesn't want any heel shining more than his heel run. He wants to. He wants to be remembered as this great heel, so he doesn't want to book an actual top heel because then it's like, oh, yeah, remember Drew in 24, 25? What a great heel. Like, no, wait, it's like me. I was the great heel, not Drew. Drew was just like, he got too many cheers.
He's just another version of me.
Yeah. That's my tinfoil hat theory on Triple H booking heels, is that he doesn't know how to do it because he doesn't want anybody superseding him. And by the way, there's a lot of people who supersede him as a top heel in all time and since his heel run. But he wants people to remember just him as a heel.
Yeah, he does have an ego, that Triple H. I've never said anything like that before.
Allegedly.
But yeah, I think the whole issue with like the vision is that we've gotten so much of that in like the last 5 years. It was the Bloodline, then it was the Judgment Day. Now we have the Vision, and you're not making it any different than any other faction. That's why they been calling it like Temu Evolution at this point, because Seth is not changing anything about himself. He got the same song. You're getting cheers for the top heel faction, so that hurts. Like if you're a new viewer, you're like, oh, I thought that people love CM Punk. Why are they cheering him getting his head stomped in and singing, oh, whoa, like I don't understand why they're not making that kind of just separate him. And then you can have someone like Kross come in as like an anti-hero who's can feud with the top baby faces, feud with this faction. They've already kind of they can like say, oh, we sowed the seeds earlier when they had the backstage segment when Braun Breaker was mad that Karrion Kross attacked Sami Zayn before their matchup. And he was like, oh, don't worry about Kross. He's crazy. He's always talking and all that stuff. And they can play that out like how they do most of like the Wyatt stuff, where it's like, oh, that was just the start of the story. We've been telling a long-term story.
People who say Zeno Ara says Roman Reigns eclipsed Triple H's heel run, and he did book that.
Yeah.
In fairness to Roman Reigns, that started under a different regime, and by the time Triple H took over, they were so locked in that I don't think Triple H had that kind of motion to be like, no, we want to actually do this.
Yeah, like I get sick and tired of people trying to claim like Triple H's greatest accomplishment is the bloodline. The bloodline started before he was in power, and it was already the top faction then. Did he help it? 100% he did. But dude, we can't give it credit and be like you just said, by the time he comes in, Roman is running things. Roman had already signed the new contract, which made him basically a part-timer or kind of more limited appearances as the champion by that point. So it was already in motion. He added some things. He put more of a focus on it. He did. I'll give him credit for the rise of Jey Uso for sure, but Roman deserves more credit for that because of what he did with throughout the Bloodline storyline that supersedes when Triple H was in power.
And I think as we've learned through Unreal, Triple H might ultimately make the final call, but he listens to a lot of people. And if someone like Roman and someone like Paul Heyman, who clearly have pretty good influence on this stuff, and then you get The Rock coming in on top of that, yeah, Roman and Paul Heyman kind of call the shots on things. And if they don't feel like ending things, then they aren't going to end too many things. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but when we were talking about the Hulk Hogan documentary, I don't want to give Vince McMahon any credit. Again, he should be in jail. I hope he gets his day in court, and I hope everything comes out against him. Honestly hilarious that he buried Triple H's booking of Hulk Hogan for the Netflix premiere. Gotta admit, I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I wouldn't have done it like that. You gave him an entrance. Like, what would Vince have done? Just rolled out the red carpet for Hogan? Like,
be like the greatest of all time. Hulk Hogan, cheer him.
King Potato Vince said they were talking about Hulk getting booed at the Netflix premiere, and Vince said he was angry watching it. He's like, I wouldn't have done it like that. And he's like, it was not produced and set up well. And that's why he got booed. Not because Hulk Hogan's a racist. Not because people found out who Hulk Hogan really is. He got booed because it was poorly set up. So him just taking a shot at Triple H and the way they set that up, honestly hilarious when you think about it.
Yo, 2025 is the year of Triple H getting shots from everyone. Like Vince, Cena, The Rock.
He brought it on himself on that Cena stuff.
Yeah,
man.
he did.
Yeah.
He did. But The Rock, like everybody got it for him right now.
He brought that Cena stuff on himself. The Rock and him, they love collaborating, but they've never been on the same page with things.
He was trying to keep him down when he was on the... But he wanted to win at WrestleMania 22. He wanted to get his win back at WrestleMania 23 if he doesn't tear his quad.
They love collaborating, though. Yeah. Very funny. Just the people going after AAA. This is what happens when you kind of do a poor wrestling show.
Yeah.
Like their shows just haven't hit well. they've created their moments. They've done a great job creating the moments. But the follow up on all these moments have just been nothing. Absolutely nothing on this. He likes to talk about the GPS. I just put the GPS, I put the destination in, and the GPS will take me there. He puts his moment into the GPS, and then I don't think the GPS actually works. I don't think it takes him anywhere.
It's just it's still on the starting screen, but he can see the map, so he just goes on now.
You know how when you try to put something in GPS, but like your reception is bad and it's like it can't load the map? It feels like that's what happens. It's like, let me put my moment in, but then the reception's awful, and so the directions aren't going to pull up. And so he's like, well, I know what moment I want to get to, so I'll just figure it out. I'll just start walking this way, and eventually I'll hit the moment. Just start driving. We might end up on a highway out in South Dakota, but we're going to get there eventually. We're going to hit that moment eventually. Well, I don't know if South Dakota has highways.
Just go through 2025. There's like so many times where he should have someone to be like, but like, let's think twice about this. Like, I understand it's a big moment, but think of the ramifications. And like, the one I enjoy was the most is probably Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. But now we're seeing with WWE Unreal, that totally destroyed everything you wanted to do for WrestleMania. Everything that you had been planning for with your long-term storytelling and the card that you built out, you just deciding, Jey Uso, you're going to win, just totally broke all that down, and you had to fit pieces where they were, and the build-up to WrestleMania kind of was disjointed because of that. Then you get the whole Rock deal where Rock comes back and he suggests that Cody turns heel. And your counteract is, no, let's have the guy that hasn't turned heel in 20 years. Let's have him turn heel on his retirement. And literally, Cena warned him. He's like, we've had to mess this up really bad to ruin my retirement run. And Triple H took that as a challenge. He took that personally. He was like, oh, I didn't get no retirement run. They just told me I was done. Because I have a pacemaker in my chest. So I had to be done. I didn't get the retirement. You think I can't do this?
Oh, he was so mad he didn't get an actual retirement too. He wanted like that. What's the Draymond to Paul Pierce? They don't love you like that. Triple H went out like Paul Pierce, folks. He wanted that big retirement tour like Kobe got. Let's go to all the arenas, and this team is going to give me this gift, and this team is going to give me this gift. Kobe dropping 50, 60 on the Jazz. Like, all right, I'm taking 100 shots tonight. Fuck y'all. This is my last game. I'm out here shooting the lights out. Y'all ain't getting the ball from me. That's what John Cena's doing right now. John Cena's like, all right, yep, let me get all my big cheers. I'm going out the way I want to go out, and I'm... That final match, you're getting all the hits. And if I'm going down swinging. But I left it all out there. Yeah. That's what Triple H wanted. And he got that Paul Pierce treatment. He just went about his business on an old team that no one cared about, losing a bunch of games, averaging 6 points per game. That's it. They don't love you like that.
He was doing the special Saudi shows by that point.
Yeah.
Before he retires, like isn't his final matchup in Saudi?
Triple H? No, I think his final matchup was like televised maybe. But I think his final match was in Japan.
Oh,
like his actual yeah. Yeah, it was on the tour. Yeah, it was Japan. He teamed with Nakamura against Rude and Samoa Joe. His last televised match was the Saudi match against Orton.
So yeah, he went out sad. He went out really sad. So I could understand if he's a little bit jealous of Cena Cena's not even getting a Kobe one. He's getting the what LeBron's gonna get. Where you get a new T-shirt everywhere you go. That's what LeBron's gonna get when he decides to hang it up. Is what we're seeing right now with John Cena in the second half of the year. But I feel like he took the challenge of we had to mess this up really bad with how he booked the heel. The heel one was it's just a couple of moments you can say that stood out of it, but not all of it was his doing. Like the heel turn, I think that he deserves credit for that. And we saw that, like I said, we were talking about Unreal, like that whole scene about him planning everything out. That was great. That was great. It made him look like he is a genius. Like he knows what he's doing.
I don't give him no credit for John Cena's heel turn.
I think I said I was about to say the credit runs out when you realize that he called Travis Scott before calling John Cena.
Yeah, that's
one. John Cena turning heel. No, but yeah, I give it up to the performers more than anybody. Always, when everything that comes to pro wrestling in general, but especially with WWE, I think that it was a combination of you have The Rock there, you got Cody Rhodes, who is the top babyface, and you got John Cena on his retirement run. You wouldn't really turn him heel, and then you do it, and that's a big shock, and it felt like one of the biggest heel turns ever. But it's just every single moment after that, it has felt like a mistake. It's felt like a mistake, and then you turn around, and the way it feels like they missed the peak on the heel turn and the babyface turn. The babyface turn should have came in the matchup at SummerSlam. It shouldn't have come on the SmackDown before it in a promo where he just says, "Hey guys, I've been acting kind of crazy lately, but Cody knocked some sense into me, so now I'm the real John Cena. Screw The Rock. He messed up my heel run."
I don't give Triple H no credit for that heel turn because it was an idea born to combat The Rock's idea. Yeah. Not because he thought it was a good idea. And then the follow-up was so god awful that I don't give you no credit for actually going through with the heel turn now. Look, we thought it was a cool move when it happened. Like, oh, WWE did it. Credit to them. They had the balls to go heel John Cena. And then we learned why they did it. And then we saw the follow-up. So now, with the benefit of hindsight, no credit for having the balls to go through with a John Cena heel turn. That's when, that's like you're taking a test and you didn't study or anything, so you just marking shit, and you somehow got a good grade on this. You somehow on this test, you got a 90 on this test. Like, oh shit, got a 90 on this test, but then you failed the fucking class because you didn't do anything after that.
That is John Cena's
heel
run. Yeah, you just wanted to go off nostalgia. Hey, he's gonna face Orton at in St. Louis at Backlash. Hey, he's gonna face R-Truth because he's been saying he's his biggest fan for years. So we're gonna do that. Hey, let's do him and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Then you have the moment with R-Truth, which they want to say is a work, but it wasn't. So they kind of were saved on that show. Then they do the CM Punk matchup, which felt like a month late, and that had kind of screwy Brooklyn throughout. And Cena was cheered when he did the pipe bomb against Punk. So, oh man! And then the match was what it was. They did their best. They played the greatest hits. They had all the interference in the world, and Cena went over in the end. And then it was the Cody feud. So. It right feels like this is the biggest. This is probably the biggest blunder of the Triple H era, creative.
So people saying that the Cody heel turn would have been better. Yeah, probably. I mean, if the Rock stayed involved, it would have. If the Rock still checked out, like you would have had some issues. I understand not turning Cody heel though. Like, I completely understand. The business is great. I don't think Cody really wants to turn heel either. And I think that's evident by them not going through with the turn because Cody he doesn't have nobody has creative control. Cody has said he's the quarterback. He can audible when he chooses to do so. I think he might have, if it was approached, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that one. And the fact that Cody is so kind of he gives so much pushback when talking about a heel turn that I don't think he wants to do it. The real correct call was Drew. That was the real correct call. Is if you do Drew winning Elimination Chamber, but they wanted to do Cena, and they wanted to do Cena and Cody, so that's why you couldn't quite get there. Maybe Drew in a triple threat match because he gets screwed out of the elimination. He somehow gets back in there. regardless, the real correct call would have been Drew in that situation because he had kind of the ties with Rock. We've seen that if you follow along on social media. We see if you want to even kind of thread the Roman stuff with Drew, Rock, and Roman, if you could potentially get to a Rock and Roman match, Drew could be a person there who gets you there because then Roman's like, wait, why are you helping this guy? I thought why is this guy in Bloodline? Why is this guy get the approval of the final boss? And Drew is a guy who is already such a good heel that he doesn't need The Rock there. He doesn't need Travis Scott there. He can carry programs by himself on the mic. And he already has that cachet with the audience of speaking his truth, but still getting boos with everything. Drew was the real correct call. If you had no actual plan with Cody, if you had no actual plan with Cena, Drew would have been the easiest of, we'll figure this shit out later. Because Drew actually knows what the hell he's doing when he's out there.
But yeah, they wanted to do Cena and Cody. So, like, that, I feel like that would have been underwhelming with the build-up. Because, like, people tend to forget. That first promo that The Rock did with Cody trying to take his soul is one of the most confusing
promos. It was. It's fucking hilarious.
And what it meant, what he was doing, where Cody is already, you're not talking to some guy on the come up. You're talking to the WWE champion, the guy that's held the title for the past year. So it was disconnected. It just felt like there was an idea that he came up with when he was called in last minute to do the show, and he just decided to do it. And they didn't work through it at all. It was something Brian Gewirtz kind of gave him like a couple of minutes before he went out there. Like, that's what it felt like the entire way. So they needed something big to make people forget that, which they did that with the John Cena heel turn. I think there is a way to make a John Cena temporary heel turn in the right way. I think that they kind of wanted the big moment at Elimination Chamber to set up a heel versus babyface matchup at WrestleMania. But in my eyes, I wanted to see John Cena as the superhero versus Cody Rhodes. And then in the matchup at WrestleMania, he decides that he needs to be desperate and he cheats. And that's how he becomes a heel. I think that's a better kind of bigger moment at WrestleMania, especially to close on night 2. Cena turning heel to win the WWE Championship. Then he's kind of going through a crisis of confidence where he still wants to be John Cena, but he's done the wrong thing and the fans are now booing him. And now it's more organic than it just feeling like shock value. And we're gonna have him do you people promos and all this stuff. They just went in like comic book villain in like record time. And I think that's immediately hurt the heel turn at Elimination Chamber.
I'm sure they didn't want to do 2 triple threat matches to close WrestleMania. They wanted to do Cena and Cody so bad. And that's kind of the sticking point here, is if you wanted to do Cena and Cody, okay, where does Drew kind of fit into all of this? And again, I don't think they wanted to do two triple threat matches with Drew, Cody, and Cena, and then Seth, Roman, and Punk. Punk could have been an option to sell his soul to The Rock. There would have been some story there that made sense. I think heel CM Punk. He's another guy that's so good on the mic that he's going to make it work, and he has enough cachet with the audience and with his words that you don't need The Rock there every week to make it work. John Cena should have been the same thing, but they just turned Cena into a robot. The thing with Drew, if you wanted to make a moment, let's say Cena wins Elimination Chamber. He wins Elimination Chamber. They do the same thing. The only difference is they do hug, and then they're like, LOL, Rock, you got no one there's no one here for you. But then The Rock still does his hand jet and then all that nonsense. You know what happens, SP3? As Cody and Cena are standing there looking at The Rock and Dwayne makes that, Drew comes from behind with the sword and decapitates both of them.
Off with his head.
Yeah. That's how you make a moment.
We witnessed murder live on TV, live on Peacock.
I think that works. You want to create a big moment? Decapitation.
They just cut the feed. They just
Yeah.
cut the feed right. You get the camera footage of people just that's all the head pop off, all blood starting everywhere.
I'd say like, how would you like do that to where you could actually like pull that off? It'd have to be like a backstage segment, obviously, and then. And I don't know how they would appear again. You literally have to kill off the character at that point. It's Cody Rhodes. He's got to wear like the Iron Man mask. He loves that fucking mask.
You have the Undertaker come back and be like,
oh, the Undertaker performing
right before. But now he's kind of like the priest coming over for the exorcism.
Yeah. Yeah, the Undertaker shoots his damn lightning bolts into them, and so their heads like just reattach. Cody loves fucking Star Wars. He can be Darth Vader. You just get a helmet or whatever, but he's like good guy Darth Vader. He would go for this. Cena's just wearing a Peacemaker type of thing.
A Peacemaker helmet. He just gets dressed up as Peacemaker. That's a much better storyline than what we got the last 4 months.
I'm all for murder here. I feel like decapitation could have saved this whole storyline. I still don't understand why Drew just doesn't do that to opponents. What the hell?
I think because it's not logical. We had to come up with a unique way to do it.
Not logical. This is why I should have a pencil.
No. This is why you should never get the pencil.
This is what you're getting in ROH, folks.
He wants decapitation, folks.
Yeah. That'd be great. I've been watching Breaking Bad. Going through that series.
Yeah.
They got. Sorry if I'm spoiling things for you folks. This series is like 10 years old at this point. If you ain't seen it, get on with it. They got Danny Trejo's head just on a turtle out in the desert. That's the type of shit I want to do. Just Drew comes out and Cody's head is just on the sword. And then so is Cena's head. They decapitate somebody else. Just stacking heads on this sword. He just goes to the ring. Just got these heads.
You want Drew to be a murderer?
Yeah, I want a lot of people to be murderer.
That's all your top heels. All your top heels. He's a murderer. He got off 9 to 10. He had a big return recently.
Real murder. Cry me a fucking river. That's what we're doing. We're doing rivers of blood out here.
That's one of the pay-per-views, Rivers of Blood.
Oh, that's a good pay-per-view name, actually. Yeah. Raw Red Wedding, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we're doing actual murder on these shows.
You're really giving cinema here.
Hey, Karrion Kross, he was talking about like, would you have been cool like killing off the character of Karrion Kross? Like, yeah, if that's what the story called for. All right. We can kill off Karrion Kross. No problem with that. He can come back, Drew decapitates him. Here comes Karrion Kross back with the Gimp mask and everything. That's how we're bringing him back to television. Scarlett's like a witch. Remember she shot like fire out of the book?
Yeah.
Like Keith Lee?
Yep.
Yeah, Scarlett just does some witchcraft and pieces them back together. Here's what I do with Karrion Kross.
Vignettes of her like put over his body doing a spell.
Here's what I do. Here's what I do with Karrion Kross. We murder him, of course.
Yeah.
And then on the next, let's say he gets murdered at SummerSlam. And then on the next episode of Raw, we've re-signed them at this point. They're not working anybody. Scarlett comes out with the hourglass, but it's like this giant hourglass. And she flips it over, and it just sits on the announce table every episode of Raw. And then after like, I don't know, a month, there's a lot of sand in this hourglass. All right, folks, this is a month-long hourglass. It's a huge hourglass, and it takes a while for all the grains to get through. After a month or so, the hourglass runs out, right? And so that is the signal that Karrion Kross is coming back. The lights go down. Let's see who's Sami Zayn's in the ring because he's got to get like revenge on Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's in the ring. The lights go down. The lights come back up. It's a new version of Karrion Kross. He's got the gimp mask on. He's got the strap-ons as well.
Just in all the places, like.
Yeah. And he's just behind Sami Zayn. And he puts a bag over his head. And he drags him away. And then the lights go down again. And then the hourglass starts over. And then we don't see Karrion Kross for another 2 weeks. And he's got Sami Zayn in his torture chamber. And Karrion Kross is a torture artist with the gimp mask and the strap-ons and vats of acid and just a bunch of torture devices. What's a movie? Saw? That's what we're doing. We're doing shit like Saw out here. And then he captures a new opponent. And so Sami Zayn has to make a decision. Is he going to cut his own arm off to save his life? Or is he going to get murdered by who else can get captured out there? Miro, they ain't doing anything with him. He ain't getting no reactions. Rusev just gets captured. Rusev and Sami Zayn, they got to make a decision. They got to cut their arm off to save their life, or they got to murder the person next to them, and then they get away scot-free. They don't have to cut off any.
What are we in now? We're in Saw. Is Saw now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karrion Kross is the new Saw. Well, Jigsaw is the guy's name. Yeah. Crosssaw. Crossfire. That's the name of his dungeon. The Crossfire. It's got to have like the big sign that says Crossfire Dungeon because it's got to be WWE and like hokey and everything. Like, okay. Like Judgment Day in the clubhouse. That's what we're doing. Wilkins has got it. WWE. Scarlett's there. She's got the whip. She's just chilling, whipping them when she needs to.
Ellering's working the door.
Oh, you imagine we bring back Paul Ellering for this? We bring back the Authors of Pain. They got the gimp mask on as well.
Righteous. He has a bigger family now.
They're just chilling. They're just chilling right next to him, just snapping their fingers and everything, laughing as Rusev has to decide this game of Russian roulette if he's going to play it. Who else can we capture to put
Sheamus
in this thing? Nah, I like Sheamus. We're not going to put Sheamus in there.
Logan Paul.
We could do Logan Paul.
That will go viral. It'll go viral if Logan.
We bring back Carlito and trying to think who else. Carlito and just Truth. It can be Truth. Everyone loves Truth. Carlito and Truth. They're in the background playing a game of Crossfire. Remember that game as a kid?
Yeah.
You shoot the marbles back and forth, right? Crossfire. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. They're just in the background playing that game. And people are like, I get that. Look at these Easter eggs I'm fucking dropping out here too, folks. Triple H loves his dumbass. Oh, here's the people in the back just talking with no follow-up on that stuff. I'm back here. They're playing Crossfire in the background in the Crossfire dungeon. Suck that, Triple H. Give me the pencil.
Someone should be taking notes.
It's one of the greatest ideas I've ever had.
It's well detailed. It's well layered. There's layers. There's Easter eggs.
Yeah.
It seems like you got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So
I came up with all this shit literally off the top of my head in the last 10 minutes, SB3. They got 50 writers who can't come up with this. And it's their job.
Yeah, it's kind of sad right now. It's kind of sad for WWE when it comes to storytelling, but I think
Give me the pencil.
They need to hire Jeremy Lambert because he can have brilliant ideas like Crossfire Dungeon. The Chronicles of Crossfire Dungeon.
Give me the pencil. All right, AEW.
I was like, no. I was like, is it gonna keep going, or are we finally gonna talk about?
Nah, I booked a beginning, middle, and there's no end yet. You know, we're this long-term booking here, the Crossfire Dungeon. But I booked a beginning and middle of it.
You gotta get the GPS. You gotta see the pivots and twists and turns.
Play the '90s Crossfire commercial on stream. Will we get copyright struck for that?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't want to risk getting copyright strike, Vala, because things are. I feel like we could get away with it, but I'd also be a little scared of a copyright strike with that. Yeah. I'll see if you guys are confident we wouldn't. Now, Zeno I was usually wrong, so.
This is true.
Yeah, Hasbro's got lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid of getting a copyright strike. I don't want to get a copyright strike because we played Crossfire.
I'm surprised we didn't get a copyright strike before Spunky.
No, you can't copyright strike that. We're just playing a game. Okay. I didn't think we're fine. Oh man, that's the same. People play Twitch games all the time, so
that's true.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's anything. I think we'd get copyright strike off of that, off of like the music, more than anything. Like that would be something that could potentially get a copyright strike. I'm not gonna risk it, everybody. I'm not gonna risk it. AEW Dynamite. Cope is, I guess, a very forgiving man, because Christian just comes out and saves them from FTR, and then they just hug, even though like last week Christian or Cope was like, hey, he's still an asshole. He didn't actually like apologize or make any type of amends. But now, because he saved him from FTR, he's like, all right, fine. I guess you found yourself. I guess that concerto made you think twice about things. That's that. I thought this was kind of lame.
It sucked. I can't give them any credit for it because it all happened way too fast. It felt like we missed a couple of chapters. I keep saying this with a lot of AEW storytelling. They miss a couple of chapters in their story. They did this with the MJF and Hurt Syndicate, where this week we didn't have any interactions between them. Hurt Syndicate weren't really on this show. And then they're doing it here with the whole Cope and Christian because they have time. I don't understand. Do they really need this matchup to happen at Forbidden Door? I thought that it would have made more sense if you tell a longer story. You use the weeks that you have, the next like 2 to 3 weeks, to kind of tell the story of them coming together. Here, he can make the save for him and then leave him spike, and then he walks away. But as soon as he holds him up and then gives him the hug, I'm just like, and Christian returned the hug. I was just like, did we miss something? How did we get here? He just said that Christian didn't apologize. Christian didn't apologize. That's what happened. It's not his interpretation. He called himself an a-hole, and then he just continued to talk about how he felt vindicated in everything that he did, and he did it for a purpose, to get ahead in AEW, and that he accomplished just that. So it was missing any type of kind of emotion or storytelling to it. So it just felt pretty empty. And I was enjoying most of this before that with the whole Cope and Stokely. Some people will vary on the crowd interaction, but I thought the two people who got the mic used the most of it, with the one guy who repeated that Stokely is bald, short bald, and he can't get any hoes. And then Cope is the only one who messed this up when he says, are there any hoes in the house? So yeah, I was like, Cope, I don't know why you're even using this. I don't even know. I don't even know why you're using this. But him then asking the girl that, would you be interested in somebody like Stokely? And she was like, is this a serious question? No, I know I wouldn't. I thought that was very well done. But then why are you protecting Stokely Hathaway? Why is Stokely Hathaway losing?
Yeah, they did a TQ. That was funny.
That's when this whole segment started to fall down for me.
It couldn't even pin Stokely. That kind of ruled, honestly. I laughed at that. Cope, I guess Cope is just a forgiving man. They've been friends for what, 40 years? They're like brothers, basically. He's like, yeah, it's fine that you tried to like kill me and everything. It's fine that just last week I was like, you're an asshole and you didn't actually admit you were wrong with anything. You saved me from FTR. You got Spike and you gave me back Spike. We're cool now. Relationships are complicated. SP3. Yeah.
I know relationships are complicated, but they don't have to be stupid. Like tell the story. You had more time. Did you really have to make this match a part of Forbidden Door? You already have 8 matches on Forbidden Door before this one is made official. So I don't understand why you're rushing it and having them do the Forbidden Door when the whole thing was about them reuniting in time for Toronto at All Out, which makes me believe that they're doing FTR versus Cope and Christian for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Because the only reason you would rush it and want them to get a win on a pay-per-view before that one is if they're getting a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles.
I think they could have delayed this. The thing is, Christian was always going to have to return to basically save Cope, and that would have been the moment, right? It was never going to be Christian just like comes out and apologize. I guess it could have been, if you wanted it to be, it could have been Christian does come out, admits he was wrong, and Cope is like, all right, well now like you got to prove that. And then Christian comes out and saves Cope at some later point or whatever. But that doesn't feel like the story they were going for. They were going for the moment of the hug, basically. And that's what they got to here. They got to the moment of the hug. Could that have been saved for Forbidden Door? In you do I was trying to think of the match. Like you do, so this would be what FTR's facing. FTR's facing the Hurt Syndicate, though. So you wouldn't have to do a match. It would have to be FTR wins. FTR wins the titles. I guess Cope just comes out because he's a dick and he goes after FTR. It's tough. Like they booked it in a weird way that, again, we're working on the principle that you're doing FTR against Cope and Christian for the tag team titles. If you're not doing that for the tag team titles, then I could much easier book this thing to get to a moment at Forbidden Door. But if you got to do FTR against Hurt Syndicate at Forbidden Door, then yeah, FTR's got to win. I guess Stokely gets on the mic and is like, Adam Copeland's a bitch. And then Copeland comes out and is like pissed off about that. But then he still gets beaten down. And yeah, maybe they're about to do the concerto to him or the Spike Pile Driver, whatever you want to do. And then Christian makes the save. And then you get that moment in London. Maybe they don't hug yet, but Christian at least makes the save. And maybe Christian hands him Spike. They do. Maybe you see Christian mouth like, I'm sorry. And then Christian walks away. Then on Dynamite, you give a little bit further. You do an interview segment with Cope. You get to the hug, obviously, at some point there. Honestly, maybe you do it the week before All Out. They do the big hug. You get a big pop off of that. And it's like, oh, now we're getting their first time teaming All Out FTR against Cope and Christian. I don't know. Am I onto something here?
Yeah, you're onto something.
W's in the chat.
That gives you more weeks, more time to kind of tell the story where we're not feeling like that. It felt kind of empty the way they did it on last night's show. Like it was probably the biggest thing on the show overall, but it felt like, I felt like I didn't deserve it as a viewer. You didn't take me on the ride. You kind of just went from point A to point Z without telling the story along the way. And I think just a couple of more weeks, even 1 week, if you want to do it in Scotland, if you really want to do this matchup at Forbidden Door for them to have a match, a win under their belt before they get a shot at the titles at the next pay-per-view, then do it in Scotland. I think they could have gotten a bigger pop for this. I felt like it was undeserved for the moment that they chose, and I think for the crowd. I thought the crowd in Cincinnati was good for the most part last night, but I think that you could have gotten even bigger reaction if you're doing it in Glasgow, and then they find out that, oh, we're also getting that matchup coming up in London on Sunday for Forbidden Door. I think it would have meant a little bit more than what it felt like last night.
Yeah, it did feel just a little rushed last night because they wanted to do the tag team match at Forbidden Door. And because of that, they decided to go this route with everything. And I think they wanted to do that hug in that moment more live because next week's show is going to be early and then air on a delay. I would assume anyway. I don't think they're holding that show at like 1 a.m. in Scotland. So spoilers are going to be out. Like you're still going to get a good things are going to get a good reaction. But I think they kind of wanted to do that more live than, oh, we know it's going to happen. I don't think spoilers matter that much in this day and age, especially if it's only like an 8-hour, if that, delay compared to, weeks in advance, which doesn't happen with AEW. It's usually just days in advance. So I don't think it would have mattered that much, but I can understand why they maybe just wanted to do that hug moment live, or for the live crowd and for the live television audience, and not have it come out that, oh, by the way, Christian and Edge, Cope and Christian are gonna hug. But yeah, it's still, regardless, like it felt rushed with things. It didn't feel like a rewarding moment, honestly. I don't like Cope anyway. He should be the one apologizing. I completely agree with people who say that. Christian did nothing wrong. If I was Christian, I wouldn't have saved Cope at all. Should have just let FTR kick the shit out of him.
He owed him one for all.
Why?
He owed him one.
He literally said, "I did not come out to save Christian."
He was a man. He was a man of his word. He's a man of his word. He's honorable. He's a patriarch. He's just paying what he owes.
He literally said, "I didn't come out to help Christian. I came out to come after FTR."
Yeah, that's why he didn't need a thank you, but he felt like he owed him.
I don't want Christian to be honorable. I owe you. No, that's not the Christian Cage I fell in love with. I want Christian to be like, look at this dork getting his ass kicked. Not my issue. Not my business.
He had to return his pet Spike.
That's none of my business. You getting your ass beat? That don't involve me.
Fatherly. He's a father. He has fatherly instincts.
Yeah. His kids turned on him. Yeah, but his kids turned on him.
Not his real kids. His daughter still won't touch the TNT title.
His daughter still can't get in the building. She got kicked out.
After he had his security escort her out. She hasn't been back since.
So we're getting Edge and Christian against Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne at Forbidden Door. All right. That's a cool.
That feels fun. Like an underwhelming return for Kofi Christian. When the alternative is just wait till All Out and do the FTR. Yeah. That doesn't really need the tag team titles either.
Oh, I agree. Like if I didn't have to put the tag team titles on the line, I could have booked something completely different with the build up and the hug and the reunion there. But I was trying to book it with the tag team titles on the line. It felt like they got this title match, or not this title match. I felt like they're just doing this match because they want Edge and Christian to team in London. Probably the last time they're going to be in the UK. I mean, maybe they make it to All In next year, Wembley. I think Cope probably wants to try to get there because he didn't make it last year with the injury. But you don't know where you're going to be a year from now and if it's going to be an Edge and Christian reunion. So I think that this is you're going to guarantee them being on this London card, and it might be the last time they're on a London card. So they wanted to just kind of put it on the show. Hell, good on Kip Sabian. He got a match in England, and Nick Wayne's getting a high profile match. I mean, we know he's taking the pinfall here, but you know.
Yes, Kip Sabian, definitely. They're protecting this. Yeah. This whole thing is to protect Nick Wayne as a future.
Cope should take the pinfall. Kip Sabian should pin him.
You're just being ridiculous. Your hate of Cope. Cope.
Put over the young talents.
Team ENC Unk. That's
Put
what
over
they
the
are.
young talent.
They two unks. Two unks are back together. It's a beautiful thing.
Just put over the young talent.
Like I said, I thought it was rushed, but I am happy to see Cope and Christian back together. And if this leads to them having the tag team title matchup in Toronto at All Out, it makes a whole lot of sense why they did it the way they did. But does it need the titles? No. Is all of this? It would have been worth more and would have been a better moment if they had told the story over the next couple of weeks. Definitely. So we're here already, so we can't complain about it.
Hangman Page and MJF official for Forbidden Door as well. So
baited
both of the what?
He baited him.
Yeah. My favorite line of this whole thing was, "Don't you know how Seabiscuit ends?"
Dumbass.
He wins, you dumbass. I was like, yeah. He keeps calling him Seabiscuit. Like, Seabiscuit's like the greatest racehorse of all time. Why is this a knock on him? Should have called him like BoJack Horseman or something. At least that has like a depressing ending, you know? But yes, Hangman did bait MJF into putting the contract on the line and cashing in his contract. The story has been good. I'm like, and both of the contract cash-ins are this soon, Forbidden Door. Like, y'all didn't even bother to stretch this and make this a thing.
Nope.
Which fair, because I think the cash-in thing can be overdone and stupid. And like, they did it last year, and the person who won failed at his cash-in. But it does make the point of the casino gauntlet and the whole cash-in aspect. It kind of weakens it. Like, just, you get the title match at the next pay-per-view. You just get it at Forbidden Door or All Out. Then at least you know when it's going to, because both of the contracts are going to be at Forbidden Door. And it's another AEW match. We got like 4 New Japan talent on this show. That's it. You couldn't give Hangman Shingo. You couldn't give him even Tanahashi. His knees in that cage match.
Yo, that was wild to me. I was like,
yeah.
I thought it was one thing when I thought that Tanahashi was going to be the opponent for Kyle Fletcher, but to put him in a steel cage matchup instead with the Death Riders, with Darby Allin, with Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi.
I gotta question AEW doctors. All right, I question them because Gabe Kidd missed the entire G1, but all of a sudden he's good to go with this steel cage match. Tanahashi, we know his knees are hanging on with rubber bands and paper clips, and he's able to go in this steel cage match. Will Ospreay is like, oh, my neck's been killing me for 6 months now, but I've been working through it. I'm going to need time off. And he's just back in 2 weeks, and it's like, yeah, steel cage match. Kenny Omega, he gets hit in the gut one time, and he might be throwing up his intestines in the ring. But he's in a steel cage match. Kota Ibushi, this man was Darth Vader put back together over the past couple of years. But he's in a steel cage match. Kota Ibushi looks like Operation Table. You touch him in the wrong place, that buzzer goes off, and he's fucked. He's in this steel cage match.
He like blew out his ankles doing a moonsault and landing on his feet like just last year. Yeah, I like the decision for this babyface team is just like, I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried because of everything you just said, and also the fact Darby Allin just coming off of a mountain. He climbed Mount Everest,
Oh,
and
Darby's the one I'm least worried about,
I know,
honestly.
he's the durable one. But what is he gonna do that's gonna make other people want to do crazy stuff as well? Like these are the wrong people to be in this matchup and have me not being worried going into it. Because Will Ospreay is one of the more kind of like creative guys out there when it comes to matches like this and what he might want to do. John Moxley is always going to bring that kind of violence to it. The Young Bucks are so innovative with everything they want to do and innovative of what they want to do with as far as like different sequences and different spots they want to do in these type of matches. So to have them with guys who aren't the best when it comes to health wise, especially recently with Tanahashi on 2 bad wheels, you got Gabe Kidd on a bad wheel, you got Will Ospreay with the neck injury. So hey, all I can say is that it did get me more interested in Forbidden Door. It is a hell of a matchup where I'm just like, this is going to be insane. I don't know if it's going to be for the great way that it has the potential to be, or because we have a lot of people going into this matchup that probably shouldn't be in this matchup.
I'm just wondering how this match is going to work. Because lights out steel cage, okay, I get the concept. When they did the dog pound match in New Japan, the cage was around the ring. Like, so you had areas to go on the floor. When they've done Blood and Guts, that's obviously 2 rings. Are you putting this cage up with 10 men in the ring at once? That ain't a lot of room to maneuver.
Yeah,
here.
that's the first thing that I thought about because I was like, what is it? You can't do tags in a light.
No, you ain't doing tags.
Steel cage matchup. So you're gonna have all 10 guys in the ring. So I would hope it is like the dog pound steel cage matchup where they have a cage that gives them more room to wrestle on the outside. Because having 10 guys in the ring, we're not gonna get as great of a matchup as we possibly can. It's just gonna be a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of punching.
Yeah.
A lot of punching. You're gonna see guys just like laid off to the side and just like on the apron, as close to the apron as they can be, so people can like actually move in the ring. Yeah, lights out is also unsanctioned. So this is closing the show because the lights out match always goes on last. So yeah, this is gonna close the show. Bargraf saying maybe the fight starts outside before the cage drops. I thought about that. I thought about maybe people might leave the cage since it's lights out as well. I assume it's a not escape the cage gets any type of victory. No. I assume it's pinfall. Most AEW cage matches are that anyway. So you could have theoretically people like just climbing the cage, leaving, and then fighting on the outside. But yeah, trying to get 10 people in this ring with this cage around, you're just not gonna have a whole lot of room out there.
I don't know if it should main event though. Like I know, that's the tradition that they always put up is that the lights out matchup is the final match on the show. But I kind of wanted to see Hangman and MJF as the main event of Forbidden Door. I think that's kind of like setting the standard for like Forbidden Door last year. You had Swerve and Ospreay. Now this year you have Hangman and MJF. Like you're putting kind of the biggest stars in AEW in the main event of the show. But I do agree that kind of this matchup is more Forbidden Door than anything we're getting in that main event.
Yeah, you at least got 2 New Japan talent in this match. So there's that's more than anybody else.
I just hope them getting this matchup is opening the door for them to do Blood and Guts for the women because they have the right pieces now, and they have like the different feuds that are kind of intertwined in the women's division to actually do.
Yeah. I think we will get there with Blood and Guts with the women or Anarchy in the arena, even though they've done Anarchy in the arena once this year. This cage match is going to be insane. It might, maybe not even in a good way, because if they don't have room to move, I just don't know what they're going to be doing out there. I think they'll figure it out. All these guys are smart enough to figure it out, but also all these guys are held together with duct tape at this point. Yeah, Hangman MJF is the official main event. The lights out match always goes on last, even if the title match is the main event with things. That's just how they've always done it with the lights out match. It's just always gone on last. I'm looking forward to the match because we're gonna pick back up on like Kenny and Buck stuff. I imagine. I think we'll eventually get to Kenny and Coda against the Bucks.
I'm
In
down for.
yeah,
And
I
that
think
might be the
they'll.
best way to kind of preserve Kenny Omega is put him in a tag team and just have them team up in the tag team division for a while because that's kind of why like the last week ahead of All In I was going with Okada because you have a lot more that you could do with Kenny Omega outside of like the Unified Championship with him teaming with Kota Ibushi. You could do trios matches, multi-man matches. He could be a main event star that you can plug in for the world title scene as well. So I think that he's in the right spot coming back. I didn't need like a grand comeback for him. I like the way that kind of they played it out throughout the night with the teams kind of getting assembled in the different backstage scene with Ospreay announcing that he made the call to Hiroshi Tanahashi. Loved John Moxley's reaction to it. Really? Hiroshi Tanahashi?
Yeah.
And then, and then
The
him
New Japan president?
then him going to see the Young Bucks and they're in the extras room. Most entertaining storyline in AEW right now, the Young Bucks. To pit them a part of the team, and then we get the announcement that the Golden Lovers are a part of the matchup as well, which it's kind of like the Okada cheat code that AEW has now. They have so many kind of staple New Japan stars that they can like play it off like this is Forbidden Door. We got Okada versus Swerve. Forbidden Door, right? You got the guy who's the face of New Japan versus the new face of AEW. Forbidden Door, right? Or the door is slightly open.
Yeah. It's very slightly open. Very slightly. We're getting Hiromu and Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That'd be a lot of fun.
I thought that was a good choice, and that made
Yeah.
sense with the promos he was cutting about pound for pound the best wrestler, and that kind of you're either gonna have someone like a Shingo Takagi who's not the biggest heavyweight, but he's one of the best out there, or you're gonna have a junior heavyweight, and there's no bigger junior heavyweight in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now more than Hiromu Takahashi, especially for an international.
You know what I feel bad for? I feel bad for Wheeler Yuta. This man keeps getting cucked out of all of these matches.
Yes. Yes, he has. I was like, Dave Kidd has his knee together that to the point that he had to drop out of the G1. But you're expecting him to come back and be in this lights out steel cage matchup when he doesn't have to because you have another guy on your team.
Poor Wheeler Yuta. I feel for you, Yuta. I do. I'm on your side, Wheeler Yuta. Maybe we get Yuta, maybe with that hair. Wheeler has a front row seat in the cuck chair.
You know he's going to get involved in this matchup anyway.
It's a cage match. I don't want no interference in this cage match. I hate that.
It's a cage match that's going to come out of the cage.
Probably, which I guess, then he can interfere. I hate cage matches with interference. Don't book a cage match if you're going to do interference. Don't do that shit. Can't stand it.
You don't like anybody even attacking somebody before they get into like a cage match?
Like, that's fine, because at least then the match like hasn't started. But no, the whole point of the cage match is to keep people out from interfering. That's
I just said I hated the cage match at SummerSlam. I thought that was one of the worst matches of the year.
Yeah, that match was terrible, but WWE has bastardized the cage match because they've bastardized every match because every match has interference. It doesn't matter what it is. You're gonna get interference. But no, I hate cage matches with interference. I know it's lights out. I know it means no rules. I know it means unsanctioned. I fully expect people to get involved. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I think the point of cage matches is you don't have interference in those matches. I get the rules are a little bit out the window when it's an unsanctioned match and there's already 10 fucking people in the match. You're probably going to have other people like running in. What if Sting comes down from the rafters?
Why not?
I got it, SP3. I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
everybody's down. Wheeler Yuta interferes because of course he does, but then there's a everybody kind of gets back up. Everybody's getting back up and everything, but Yuta's got everybody knocked down and everything. Down from the rafters.
I already know where this is going.
Everybody knows where it's going, but
everybody knew where it was.
You gotta let me hit my high spots, baby. Down from the rafters in the Sting mask. As everybody's getting back up, he's got the bat with him. Darby Allin's getting up. Darby Allin sees his hero, his father figure, Sting.
Because these two people have the same body types.
Here comes Sting down from the rafters. Darby Allin's getting up, and he points the bat at Wheeler Yuta, like, why are you interfering? And then he goes and he hits Darby Allin right in the face, because Darby Allin is a crazy person. He hits Darby Allin with in the face with the bat. And then Tony Schiavone's freaking out. What? Why'd he do that? What? The mask off. The jack off. All over Darby Allin's face with the bat. It's Jack Perry, baby. He's back. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Jack it off. All in the faces. Jack Perry back to help the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. That's the finish. That's the finish.
A big ejaculation finish.
Mask off, jack off, baby.
Mask off, jack off. That was very well done. That was worth the high spot. That was worth the high spot.
A wordsmith out here.
Mask off, jack off. I knew that was where that was going to go, but I always.
Everyone knows where it's going. It's fine. It doesn't matter. You know what Bret Hart's comeback is. He's going to hit the same move. You still love it every single time, right?
That's true.
It works.
Well, we talked about the setup for the Lights Out Steel Cage matchup. Did you have any thoughts on Moxley getting the win over Kevin Knight?
That was a good match.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Not as good as the Speedball match.
Yeah, I was there for the Speedball match, so my view of it was a little different and probably enjoyed it more than television. But that was good. And not unexpected that Jon Moxley won. And then later in the show with the stuff with Darby and everything. So it was Ospreay returning, and his neck was not working 2 weeks ago.
Herniated disc too.
Yeah, that's fine. He just needed a couple weeks off. I love how that was, they try to sell it like, I've got herniated disc pushing into my neck and it's been terrible for months, but I just need to chill out.
I just need 2 weeks off. I'll be back.
Yeah. It's like, really selling this one here, aren't you, Will? Bryan Danielson's been out for a year with this shit, but Ospreay's just like, 2 weeks, I'm good.
Hey, he's getting that Austin run. When Austin came back from the neck. Except he was out for like 8 months. So, yeah, I liked Will coming back. I thought that he cut a good promo to set up the Lights Out matchup. And I liked the way they built it up throughout the night with, like I said, the backstage segments. What else happened on the show? They put all the women in one segment, which I was annoyed. I was like, why do we need everybody in this one section of the show? We couldn't spread this out just slightly. You couldn't do like a Timeless Tony Storm and Athena promo exchange that sets up the same thing, and then you could do what you did in the post match, like Mercedes attacks Alex Windsor, and then all this, and then you set up the tag team matchup for next week in that segment. Why do we have to put everybody in this one segment? The 6 women in the matchup. You got Julia Hart at ringside. You got Timeless Tony Storm and Athena in the crowd. It was just like, okay, you're doing too much. You could spread this out a little.
And they probably could have spread it out a little bit, but they just decided, let's just do everything in one segment. I do love Mercedes selling, almost being scared of Tony Storm. It's like, shit, that's the person that beat me. Oh, I do love that aspect of it. And we're going to get the tag team match next week, which they've been setting up for, really since last week, they've been kind of setting it up, but looking forward to that tag team match. We'll see if they get to blood and guts with the women. I thought this match was fine. Mercedes has lost 2 matches in a row a giant old loser now. But I thought the other match was just fine. The wrestling on this show was like fine.
Yeah,
The 8-man was probably the best match on the show.
yeah, and that's just to be expected because Young Bucks are in their PWG mode when it comes to these matches.
Yeah.
They're just gonna go ham. They're gonna do all their moves. You got Nick doing some great stuff, the great high flying he does. Matt's doing a lot of great character work during the matchup of just being just thrown off by their whole downfall that's going on. So I think that the Young Bucks have become one of my favorite characters on AEW television since this whole broke ass Bucks storyline has started. And they worked well with Fletcher and Josh Alexander. I thought Brody King was awesome in this matchup. And I like this matchup because they gave them the opportunity to promote a lot of different things, like talking about Hologram being undefeated, talking about the Kyle Fletcher and Ishii rivalry. And as soon as I realized that Hologram was on that team, I was like, oh, they're not losing. They're going to win. And then Hiromu came out. I was like, yeah, they're definitely going to win because that was the only thing that makes sense to set up Hiromu to get the shot at Fletcher for the TNT title.
Hologram still being undefeated is a hilarious bit because it's been over a year now and they've done like nothing with him in the year and he's been undefeated this whole time. Can we give my man a title shot or something?
They're building up to something big. He's gonna.
I don't think they are.
You gotta get a shot at the AEW World Championship.
I don't think they're building up to anything.
Huge. It's gonna be huge.
I wish they were. I just don't think they're actually building anything with him. It's been a year, and like nothing has happened. It's just he's Hologram. I like Hologram. I would like to see him do more, but he's just in random tag matches. He's got a new partner every single week.
No, he's a member of the conglomeration.
That group doesn't actually exist. That group doesn't actually exist.
It's him and Tomohiro Ishii right now.
What if MJF wins the title at Forbidden Door, and then Hologram confronts him, and we get a Hologram and MJF feud?
And MJF can say, I was the last guy who had a long winning streak in AEW.
Yeah.
Or the original.
What if Hologram like unmasked and there's like actually somebody underneath the mask?
You think Hologram is Tony Khan?
Oh, that would be very funny. I kind of want Hologram to be Orange Cassidy because I think that's just hilarious. If it just unmasked and it's just Orange Cassidy the whole time.
I won't explain why he hasn't looked like Orange Cassidy this whole time, but I would love it.
Yeah, who cares? It makes no sense, but I still just think it'd be funny. It's gonna be Jericho at some point. Like, just watch. Jericho's gonna be the first person to beat Hologram.
And I also realized that MJF can't win this title because he's gonna lose to Mystico in September. And why would they put the AEW World Championship on a guy who's just gonna lose to Mystico?
Yeah, I don't think he's winning this title. I think most people can probably see that, like, they're not cutting Hangman's reign off after a month. Not after that big build up. Yeah, I don't think Hangman's losing this title. That's why doing this match so quickly was a choice, in that MJF can take a loss, he's fine, but it is to go back to this match when it felt like you could have held off on this match for a little while. But they're just going with it. And you could have done the whole thing of MJF still has the cash in and can do whenever he wants, and he taunts Hangman with the cash in and everything, which now is out the window after Forbidden Door.
I like the story that they told with him kind of outsmarting Max, knowing his old game plan, and a Hangman of last year. That's all he needed to do. What Max said last night, he was like, "All I need you to do is get angry, because an angry Hangman is a weak Hangman." and that's how he was going to try to get to him. And that's what he's been trying to do over the last couple of weeks, like bringing up Swerve, attacking one of his friends and bloodying him, fighting him and then running away so he couldn't get his real kind of revenge for everything. It's like all these things is to get under his skin so he would give him the title match. But Hangman has learned. He's showing character progression for everything that he went through for his own redemption arc, and not immediately going back to the Hangman of old.
Yeah, MJF being like, I know the real you, and like you're not this person you portray. Hangman's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, I know my flaw. Like, I see my flaws every day. Like, this is not the diss you think it is, MJF. Like, Hangman, of all the characters on this show, he's like the most self-aware of what he's actually done. He's not trying to act like he's a good person. He knows he has burned a man's house down and everything. We didn't just forget that, you know? So, yeah, MJF's little tricks didn't work at all. That's why I thought at some point, and look, maybe it'll come next week, MJF's going to go the kids route, because that's the thing that'll get at Hangman, is bringing up his son. So we'll see if MJF goes there next week. Yeah, the MJF's promo, where when he's talking, I'm like, he knows who Hangman is, right? Like, it would have been out of the ordinary for Hangman to be like, yeah, like for that to get under his skin and be like, oh, you're right, I am just lying to the people. Like, no, dude, we watched your whole progression with Moxley. We saw you have these come to Jesus moments with everything. Don't just forget about all of that just so MJF can be right. I thought it was a good segment between both of them. So
they have really strong chemistry. I love the callbacks to their previous promo where I think it was Hangman that told him, like, he's not like MJF. He says, I'm real. And now you got MJF turning it back on him, saying, I'm the one who's real. You're the manufacturer. You're supposed to be the main character. I'm the one who's an original in all of this. So I like the dynamic between them and how this feud has kind of progressed, where really it should be viewed more. And hopefully, they have a great go home segment and the match delivers at Forbidden Door, because if they close the book right there, or maybe even try to get one more matchup at All Out, this is going to be one of the contenders for like the best AEW feud of the year, because it's really should be viewed as kind of a changing pivot point for AEW this year, when they made that change from MJF and Double J into MJF and Hangman Adam Page, and now it's kind of progressed naturally to them being the main event of Forbidden Door for the world title.
Jeff Jarrett still owed his title shot. He's still coming after that title. Jeff Jarrett is 2 days away, folks, from holding the Texas Deathmatch Chainsaw Championship for 2 years.
Maybe it's like the X Division Championship, and there's an option C that we never knew about, and he cashed it in for the title shot after Forbidden Door. Yeah. MJF wins the title at Forbidden Door. Jarrett cashes in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Championship to become the new AEW World Champion.
Jeff Jarrett's hologram.
Big Pop! Big Pop, there we go.
He comes out, MJF wins the title, hologram comes out to confront him, and MJF's like, this is this guy. He turns his back, and then boom, smashes him with the guitar. And then he reveals himself to be hologram. In a rule.
And no, it's actually Sonata. Sonata is Mass, and he's really Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, all right, now we're talking. Undefeated and undefended. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett's like my booking of Evil, where I want to give him a 4-year title reign with no title defenses.
This is why we cannot give you no pens instead of one of these pens.
I need the pencil. I've got amazing ideas. Look at all the stuff I booked on this show.
You want Evil to be IWGP World Heavyweight Champion for 10 years. You said
yes.
10 years.
Yes. I don't understand what's wrong with this idea.
That's an awful idea. I can barely deal with him when he's top heel. I can't deal with him as a world champion.
Just wait. He's about to win this G1.
No, he's not. He's losing. Yeah. He's losing, and now we know who he's going to lose to.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so.
So you rather be wrong than go for you rather be wrong and go for evil instead of being right of your original prediction for the G1?
Yeah, I did pick Suji, so I do think Suji's actually beating him. I think it's gonna be Suji and Zach in the finals.
I think Suji and Takeshita.
Oh, you think Takeshi's gonna beat Zach? Okay.
Yeah, because it would. Why would that wouldn't make a lot of sense for Zach to beat him twice?
See, I'm with you. I just don't know if they're gonna put Takesha in the finals. Like, I agree with you that Takesha should win this match, and then you can do a Takesha and Zach 3, since Takesha will have the win over him in the semifinals. You can do that at what's the November show?
Power struggle.
Power Struggle. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I think you can do that at Power Struggle, and then you do. I assume Zach wins that, and then you do Suji against whoever the champion is, potentially Zach, at Wrestle Kingdom.
I think they're saving that rematch because that was the G1 final last year. So I think they're saving the rematch for like a world title matchup, which I probably
That's fair.
That's the Wrestle Kingdom main event next year. But that kind of creates the whole thing. If you do Takeshita versus Suji, is that Suji is kind of like the last stand for New Japan. He's the symbol of the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he's facing a guy who's not a kind of a firm New Japan guy. He has a contract with New Japan, but he works for AEW. He originated out of DDT, and Suji is a Noge Dojo graduate. And that's kind of been the story with Takeshita when he faced like Shota Umino and Ren Narita, is that he's kind of the visitor. He's the outsider who's coming into New Japan. Same story that he had with Shingo Takagi, really, who also was an outsider, but he's become more of like New Japan, and they're like Takeshita's kind of just trying to come in, run roughshod, and then leave to go back to AEW and stuff like that. So I think that creates a bigger story for the main event if you have those two guys, and then also goes into Suji versus Zack Sabre Jr., who has adapted to New Japan and has become a guy known for being in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he's also an outsider. He didn't start in the Noge Dojo like he did. He didn't have the same journeys of your Orochi Tanahashi, your Shinsuke Nakamura's, and guys like that came before him. So I think that Suji, he's going to be the one, win the G1, defeat Evil, which will be the biggest win of the year, so I can stop dealing with Jeremy and his EVIL. So Suji gets the win. It was a good matchup with Shota Umino. It was one of Shota's better matches of the tournament this morning. And Kurgan Hall is like the best place for New Japan. And I love the fact that they made that the location for today's quarterfinal matches. But Takeshita versus Finlay, that was one of the best matches of the tournament. That was incredible. Both guys went out there and had a banger.
Takeshita. I mean, we say it literally every show we're on together. He's the best in the world, dude. He is. He's that dude right now. Like, some company's got to put a damn title on this man. I don't know which company's gonna do it, but they got to do it. I don't know why they're waiting so long with him.
I have no clue, man. He's the best in the world. We've been through the debates before of the Kenny Omegas, the Will Ospreys, Io Shirai, or Io Sky. Those people are in the conversation too. Takeshita does everything better and on a different level than everybody else right now, and I think that he's delivered. I've heard it's like conflicting reviews of his block form, but I thought he had some of the best matches of the tournament with Shingo Takagi, with Zack Sabre Jr., his matches with like Yoshihashi and Drilla Maloney. Those were great matches as well. The El Phantasmo matchup, the match with Gabe Kidd. I don't think he had a real big miss other than Ren Narita, but that's Ren Narita. That's House of Torture.
Louis saying he's not the best. G1 Evil, G-Evil is the best in the world.
Jeevil. You're a genius. Yeah, Jeevil.
That's good. Do you have C-Suite? Are you able to watch Evolve?
Yes, I did watch Evolve because I have Tubi out here.
Should we ban
in the UK?
I want to ban C-Suite until Peter Rosenberg comes on this show. And
oh man, now we get heat. Yeah, now you're booking to get heat, brother.
That's right. That's right. This whole show's a bit. This whole show's just a wrestling show. We're working everybody with everything. Said work or shoot. I think that's
I did have to do C-suite. I got to talk about LFG.
Oh my gosh, LFG. Are you gonna? That's right, because you're on Bully Ray's side for something, which is very disappointing.
It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite, where we watch C-level WWE shows in the C-suite. So yes, WWE LFG. The real story of this show is that the big conspiracy that's been going on, that me and Cher, when she was on here, we pointed out that the judges have ulterior motives, and we saw it firsthand on this week's episode. This episode was about kind of showing. I always forget what. Oh no, they had to set up their whole matchup on their own. They couldn't take kind of like the advisement of any of the coaches, so they had to put together their matchup from beginning to end. And this real standouts in the show, because there was an injury between Serena Linton and Bailey Humphries matchup that kind of took them out of play. It was really the matchup between Zena Sterling and P Nasty. P Nasty was the one who kind of got the point. It was Zena Sterling who played like the babyface, working from underneath, and eventually gets the win in the matchup. They both look good for the most part, so I didn't mind them going either way. But they did point out that the votes went. Booker went for P Nasty. Michelle McCool, who is P Nasty's coach on this season, went for P Nasty, and then Taker also went for P Nasty. And Bully Ray, it was kind of out of his kind of say of who he wanted to win, because he didn't even get a vote because he was outnumbered already. But he pointed out that Zena Sterling has been the standout, because all the other coaches said, "Oh, Zena, you're here." I know the police just always
the cops are coming for you over the C-suite.
They're like, they heard the C-suite is here and they're coming for me, folks. But yeah, everybody basically voted against Cena, because they felt like she's the front runner for this season, and they haven't seen her kind of take that next step and show something a little bit different. So basically Bully got offended, because that's his girl on his team, Xena, and he says that Xena was the one that looked more impressive. But he says that the only reason this is happening is because these two keep voting on the same page, which I called out like weeks ago on this show, that The Undertaker and Michelle McCool just vote for each other. On the men's side, it was Anthony Luke who got the vote, because Anthony Luke is a part of Michelle McCool. So now Michelle McCool went from last place to first place because she got both points this week. So now Undertaker and Michelle are 1 and 2 in the standings. And I love the fact that it was one of the coaches, who pointed all of this out, because I would just feel frustrated watching the show when it's so obvious what's going on here. So I appreciated Bully Ray for saying something right for once, which is very rare, which he probably messed up on this week's Busted Open or something.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you saw his latest dumbass take, but are we reviewing Evolve, or are we not reviewing Evolve until Peter Rosenberg comes on the show?
Should that be the edict for the C-suite, is that we're only talking LFG?
I'd like Peter Rosenberg to message me back. We exchanged pleasantries.
Yeah.
That's been the end of our exchange. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, well, we're Evolve. We're putting a ban on Evolve until Peter Rosenberg comes on this show.
That's fair.
All right.
The only other thing that I had to mention as far as our C-suite, our special C-suite, we're not going to talk about Evolve. We'll talk about Evolve showing up on NXT, because Kendall Gray had a matchup on NXT this week. Shout outs to the best spear in the game. She wasn't allowed to show her true potential to the world, but she'll get her shot very, very soon. You also had the real deal, Tyra May's deal, where we checking all three boxes. We checking NXT, we checking LFG, we checking Evolve. I'm about to put TNA Impact in the C-suite because that's where it belongs. But yes, we did all that with Tyra May Steele. She showed up as the partner for Tavion Heights against Team Canada, Ethan Page and Chelsea Green. I don't know when that's going to happen. Philly show or probably going to be at Heat Wave, knowing them. But yeah, and we actually had Callie Armstrong and Chantel Monroe backstage on NXT as well. So Evolve is on the up. We on the up, Evolve.
Is Evolve on the up?
We're on the up. The C-suite, man. We're getting more people who desire to hear from the C-suite every week.
That's the thing, though. It's still the C-suite. You're just putting more people in the C-suite instead of the B-suite or the A-suite. We're getting less there and more in the C-suite.
I mean, there's only like one show in the A-suite for WWE, and that show hasn't been good in a month. It's on Netflix in the United States.
Unreal?
No, Raw. Raw is their A show.
Nah. Not lately. I didn't.
No, I'm not saying quality wise. I'm talking about how much they care about. That's the one they care about the most.
Raw's in the D suite for me right now. The DQ suite. That's what keeps happening on those shows. SmackDown's at least got John Cena every now and again.
This is true. That's why it's in the B suite.
Another reason to not review Evolve is because Xeno Hour wants you to review Evolve.
Hey, I will review Evolve when Peter Rosenberg responds to Jeremy's DM. That's right. Then we'll get back. We'll be all caught up. Evolve's the type of show where you don't have to watch it week after week. You kind of know where everything is going. There's a lot of Vanity Project on the show. Dum 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 dum. Throw your V's in the chat. We'll keep up with what's going on with the Vanity Project because that's the most important thing.
Got a super chat from Jay Miller. Says, I need Scarlett doing Smoke Show Destroyers again. If that's what she wants to do, I wouldn't be shocked to see Scarlett and Kross and AAA maybe as early as this Saturday.
I can see that. Mania. It's got the history.
Her video is still like the most viewed video by like 20 million views. On AAA's YouTube. Actually, let's look and see what the most viewed video is and how much she tops everybody in that video, because pretty sure it's a fair amount, honestly. All right, Lucha Libre, AAA, most popular videos. So, Lady Shani against Fabi Apache has 10 million views. That is second on their YouTube channel. Scarlett Bordeaux debuts. That is first. The Lady Shani against Fabi Apache match, 10 million, right? Scarlett, 35 million. 25 million more views.
Damn.
Than their second most viewed video. They've doubled up their second most viewed video with this Scarlett debut. So yeah, they would love to have her back.
The power of Scarlett.
I can't believe WWE didn't do as much with her. Like
that seems like that would be more up their forte than even like Karrion. So it's kind of surprising.
It's weird. But WWE does some weird things. Do a lot of weird things.
That is very true. Right, no truer words have been spoken.
SP3, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. I will be live in less than an hour over with Jimmy Macaram on True Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel with AE Ramble, going more in depth on last night's AEW Dynamite, which of course means that Jimmy Macaram was less than enthused on probably the show than I was. Anytime I enjoy it, you can expect that Jimmy didn't. So join us live for that over on the True Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. I'll be there tomorrow to preview the semifinals and the finals for the G1 Climax this weekend, and then True Hill Heat flagship podcast on Saturday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. So join me over there, and a lot of my written work is over at si.com.
The ratings are in. You got an 8.8. I once again got a 6.9. Although Zeno Hour completely outs his own rating system and said I was a 10 out of 10, but I lost points for the C-Suite slander and shots at the top weed. Well,
and I never get a 10 out of 10, even not in parentheses. I get an 8.8. At least that's my birth year.
Yeah, you didn't have great ideas like I did today, SP3.
This is true. This is true. You did come up with the best idea.
Yeah. Give me the pencil. That's all I'm asking.
No.
Why? You keep saying no. I keep telling you, you're coming along with me with this.
This is true.
Like,
but you're not giving me the job I want. I want to be like the filter for your ideas.
Yeah, but then like, I'm not gonna be able to get my good stuff onto television.
Oh, you're gonna be able to get all the opportunity.
Nah, you're not gonna let me do a 10-year evil title run.
No. That's where I'm putting my foot down. That's where I step in. I'm just like, nope. Can't.
But we're gonna create another title.
Bleeding money. You're gonna be bleeding money.
No. Imagine the heat we're gonna get, brother.
I don't care. Your go away heat is not the heat that we want, brother.
We're not gonna get go away heat. We're gonna get real heat. Because we're gonna have another title. And we're going to have Takeshita defend that title like a million times. And it's going to be great. And then people are going to continue.
He's off for like 6 months of the year from New Japan.
We'll make Tony Khan give us more of Takeshita. We'll give him... Who can we give Tony as like a make good till we use Takeshita more and more? Who?
Hiromu.
Are we willing to give up Hiromu in this deal?
You would not be able to rely on Hiromu for the best of Super Juniors.
Yeah, we'll give up Hiromu if we get Takeshita. We'll make that trade.
Yeah, you win. You win in that trade.
Yeah.
This is not Hiromu of like 5 years ago or rather 8 years ago before the neck injury.
So we had Takeshita doing like a million title defenses with.
You're gonna have to give them two, actually.
Nah. Tony loves Hiromu.
Nah, he's worth 2.
I mean, Takeshita is, yeah, I agree. But like Tony loves Hiromu so much that like it'll be.
I don't know if he loves him that much. This is the first time Hiromu's having a singles match ever.
Well, that's because he's always on Forbidden Door, though. We'll give him Ishii. He uses Ishii enough as it is. You can keep Ishii.
Okay.
He definitely loves Ishii.
Yeah.
So we get a bunch of Takeshita title defenses. And then on the other side, with the other title, we had Evil with no title defenses. And the crowd's just clamoring for the unification match.
You do not have to explain this idea again. It's not good.
This is Sting and Hogan. Like the build for... But it's a 10-year build instead of a 1-year build.
That's way too long.
You complain about... Not you. But like people complain about no long-term storytelling. I got a 10-year story out here, everybody.
But not a good one.
I think it's great.
I know you do, but I don't.
You don't want Takeshita on a 10-year run as well?
I don't want Evil. I don't want... Why do I have to give up my nose to spite my face? Like, that's what you're telling me. Yeah, he's like, you can have a pretty face, but I'm gonna cut off your nose.
You're missing the point here, SB3. Like, you're just looking at the title and the 10-year reign of the title. You're not looking at the substance of the reign, where like you're not getting an Evil match every single month. Like, he's on the Roman Reigns schedule.
Evil match like at all.
He's on the Roman Reigns schedule, brother. He's just working the big shows.
I don't want. Why can't I have that part of him working like part-time and not have him have it? Why can't you do this with the never openweight championship?
Because that's not as fun.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's actually perfect.
No. It's the world title. It's the IWGP.
No, the never openweight world championship.
You're putting too much value into these titles. They're just props.
No, they're not just props. They mean
are.
something in New Japan.
we're gonna make
Except
we're gonna
how the new world championship is. That doesn't.
yeah we're restoring the old IWGP championship as
No,
well.
we will not. We will not taint that title. That was when the title had to, they had
No,
to
no,
a
no,
new title.
no.
Is when Evil got it. When Evil touched that title, he put it with a lethal dose.
I know. Well, in your mind, but this is the thing. Evil's gonna take this new title that no one really likes, and he's gonna hold it for 10 years, doing no title defenses. Takeshita's the one who brings back the old title that everybody loves, and he makes all the title defenses and holds it for 10 years.
Okay. That's your big idea. That's not a good. It's not still not good. You can explain it however way you want. It's Evil holding the title for 10 years. That's my problem. Unless we can get off of that.
You got to get over it. You got to get over that.
We could put someone else in that position, then I'll be fine with that. If Takeshita is the Evil and he holds the title for 10 years, he defends it, but not all the time.
But no. That's no fun.
No, that is fun.
No.
That is fun.
We're doing that on the other. We're bringing back the prestigious IWGP Championship. We're bringing back the prestigious one. You know, the one that was held by all the greats out there. We're bringing that one back.
Yeah, through Takeshita. Why do we need Evil to hold the title to get that?
We're doing it through Takeshita. Yeah, Evil's the one that's holding like the butterfly belt that no one cares about. And Takeshi's like, I'm going to restore the feeling of New Japan. Did they still do? It's been so long since I've because the last title match wasn't on television. Yeah. They still do where they run through the champions.
Yeah.
You know, they still do that.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do. That we're bringing that back with and this championship that is going to be held by Takeshi. That's what's gonna start. That's what's gonna be with Inoki. Choshu, Fujinami. Who else held this title? Okada, Muda, Tanahashi, Chono. Like all the greats that held the title. That's going to be the championship history there. And then Evil's championship is just Evil. He's erasing all of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship history. He's just erasing all of that. And he's basically creating this new title for himself. And Takeshita is bringing back the old traditional title. So see, SP3, this title that you're so caught up on actually is just, it's meaningless. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to you. I've already lost points from Xeno Hour because, Xeno Hour is such a good judge. So I don't see the vision. I don't understand it. I don't want it. I'm not going to be around. That's when I'm going to ask for my leave of absence from my job.
For 10 years?
Yep, for 10 years. I'm going to be like, I don't want any credit for any of this. I'll be back when this is all done. I know this is your passion project. So I'll be back when it's done.
I think you'll come around on this.
No, okay.
You'll come around on this. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. You know, here's where you're really not seeing the vision here.
What you've explained this so many different ways.
No. Wait now. Just wait. Wait till I drop this. This is the nuke bomb right here.
Oh boy.
Just wait, okay? I gotta make sure I got this correct. I don't want to screw this up. Oh, hold on.
It's like, wait, I have to stare at my headphones.
All right, okay. Now, I think I'm right. I apologize if I know this was a thing. Who is... I mean, we don't know for certain, but this is where the real vision comes in. I don't know if they're still dating, but who is Evil dating?
was dating Io Sky.
Yeah.
Well,
This
I
is
thought he
right.
was engaged or married.
This is how we get EO.
Well, you don't use women in New Japan. What are we talking about? That was your big build-up.
We're going to.
No,
It's our rule. We can do that.
Bushiroad owns both New Japan and
we got Stardom.
You're just competing with yourself.
We got Stardom. They signed Mercedes to a deal. New Japan did.
Yeah.
Why are you against having women's wrestling on New Japan now?
I'm not against it. He just doesn't book it well, and he doesn't book it often.
Who is this he? We're the bookers. It's our decision.
This is true. I forgot in this scenario that we're the bookers.
Yeah.
Gato.
We make the call.
So we're booking for Stardom as well?
Sure. Yeah.
We're just Bushiroad's in-house creative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you're on board, right?
Why not? Let's bring it.
Let's go. That's a victory.
But Evil only holds the title for 5 years.
No, 10. We got to 10.
See, I'm out.
We're getting EO Sky.
I'm out again. No,
we're getting EO Sky.
I needed some adjustments on the time. That's all I needed.
You get 10 years. You have 24 hours to accept.
You're telling me I have 24 hours to sign this contract.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
This is a victory, folks. SP3 will come around. We're getting EO Sky. We're getting control of Stardom, too. Book Stardom however you want. I won't get in anything. Anything you want to do with Stardom, I'm for you with that. I'll give you free reign over Stardom. I trust your judgment when it comes to Stardom. I don't know enough about it. I fully admit I do not know enough about it to where I'd be good at booking that. You get EO Sky and Stardom SP3.
How about you book Stardom and I book New Japan? For like 5 years. At the 5-year point.
10-year run for Stardom's newest superstar. Good.
All right. I'm going to tap out there.
Worse for SP3, Evil as champ or Chris Paul as champ?
If Chris Paul is the champion on the Los Angeles Lakers, that's not that bad. Evil, he would never be on my team. I would never pick Evil on anything. So, like, there's nothing to soften the blow of Evil being a champion. So, yes, that would be worse.
Well, Chris Paul would win it as a member of the Clippers, right? He signed with the Clippers.
He didn't say this year. He said CP3 as champ. If he does
this is last year.
He gets traded to the Lakers and then becomes a champion with the Lakers. I mean, find it.
Yeah, but this is last year and he's with the Clippers, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, if he wins the championship with the Clippers, that might be worse than me.
All right, folks, let's get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, Joel and I. Who knows what we're going to talk about? TNA will probably end in a DQ, so I don't have to talk about that show. Great.
Please, TNA, do it. Do it.
Next week, I guess I can announce this. Hopefully plans don't fall through because I hate announcing things before things that happen because I always think things are going to fall through. Next week, next Monday, Andy Quilden from Rev Pro owner, he's scheduled to join us on Monday. So, again, we plan to have Andy on. He's going to join us for a while. He's going to talk about the Rev Pro anniversary shows, talk about Forbidden Door. I will ask him, point blank, does Mercedes Moné have creative control? That's my opening question to him.
What a build. What a build-up.
Folks, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Spotlight tonight at 6:30. Talk to everybody then. Bye, everybody.